One of the queries that we have from users is sometimes that they lose the sensation while they're midway through a program. They can't feel that it's working. What would your advice be for that?
Okay, so there are a couple of things to bear in mind. First thing is to check on the machine that it hasn't just moved to a different phase of the program. If you've got one of the programs where it's a bit of a bundle, it's not just all the same, it's got those little circles to show you. As you move to a new phase, because it's a different type of frequency and pulse width, you may need to turn your amps up, your intensity up, using your up and down buttons, just to find again that you're getting enough electrical current through to feel it. So that's one thing to look for. The second thing is you could have accommodated to the feeling. So sometimes you've been feeling it at, say, 25 milliamps, and your body's got used to it, and actually you could nudge it up a bit and the feeling will come back. So they're the sort of parts with the machine. Then you might need to think about the electrode that's inside itself. The way they work is the electricity has to flow from one electrical bar through your tissues to the other bar. And if there's no contact or poor contact between the metal and your tissues, then the electricity can't flow. It's a broken circuit. And then you won't feel anything. And it might have been all right, but it shifted or you've run out of contact. So one thing is to make sure you use enough gel. Now, it's a bit of a balance because if you use too much gel, then this can just slide out so easily. But a good coating, and noticing that it's on the sides and on some of them, it comes a little bit round the back as well. And think about when you have an ultrasound scan and they use a gel, they put quite a lot on, and some people need more than others. So check you've got enough gel. And then check that it hasn't twisted. It's designed to talk to the muscles on either side. And can you see on these ones, they're all side-to-side arrangements. There's no muscle up the top, and though there is muscle underneath, the belly of the muscle is here on the sides. So the problem can be that they've twisted. And so it's not really got enough muscle to talk to on either side, and you've got to make sure it's flat. These ones are a little bit difficult to tell if they're flat. You could slide your finger in and make sure you can feel the flatness. This one's the easiest one to tell. This is the one that you tend to get issued on the NHS, which is quite useful because either the tail is up or the tail is down. If the tail's sideways, you know you're the wrong way round. So that one's the easiest to tell. This one, you can tell by the grooves on the side whether you've got it flat, because the smooth should be up and down. So some are a little trickier than others. Now, if you feel that it's shifting, you might need to go for a slightly wider electrode. They are quite similar, but this one is quite a bit bulkier. And this one is specially designed that it can be different widths. So it can go in thin, but then once it's in, it has a broader width. And if you've got what we call a wider vaginal hiatus, you're stretchier that way, then this bigger peri-size might suit you better. And then something else to think about is maybe it's not so much that that's moving, that you're moving. Some people are just wriggly people and move about more than they realise. And we all sort of cough and splutter a bit and don't necessarily notice. So if you've coughed, you might have just moved it down too far near the opening. And then as your muscles are tightening, they're slightly pushing it out and it's working its way away from the muscle belly. So maybe just pause and between contractions, just push it back in a bit. Another thing to think about is the position of your legs. So if you're using it sitting, bring your legs nice and close. That will help to anchor it. In clinic, I tend to get people to lie down and then with your knees bent. And again, make sure your knees are touching and that will hold the sides close. Or you can turn on your side, because when you turn on your side, then the pressure of your body is going to push on the top one and the top one's going to push on the bottom one, and that's just going to sandwich it a little tighter. It doesn't matter which side you go, but side might be easier for getting that better contact. And I think, oh yes, that's the other point we were thinking of, wasn't it? We don't necessarily want to walk around with it. If it isn't that you can't walk around with them, but I tend to say maybe this isn't the time to be multitasking. They work better if they're still with good contact. And actually, the point is you're trying to learn from this as well. You're trying to feel what's going on and teach your own brain how to do this when you're not attached to the machine. So staying still and concentrating on your exercise session and noticing what's happening might be a better strategy for you.